Russell Gagan here from Russell's Fishing Tech, coming back at you with another video. Today what we're going to talk about is wire slide divers. I'm going to show you how to rig a wire slide diver for success. And before we get started, I'm going to kind of explain to you why would you use a wire slide diver. Well, one of the reasons would be it's a lot easier to net fish with a wire slide diver in comparison to a diver with a long lead. There's a lot of charter boat fishermen, tournament fishermen, and even fun fishermen now using a standard diver with a 15 or 20 foot lead behind it because of the clear water, trying to get some stealth. And then you have two choices. You either got to reel it to the rod tip and try to really back up far, which can be a really tough deal, and sometimes you can drive that fish under the boat, or what most people do is they hand over hand that leader in. The issue with the hand over handing it in is you have to have 3 people capable of doing tasks to be able to do that successfully regularly. Somebody to reel in the fish, somebody to hand over hand the line, and somebody to net the fish. And not everybody has that. A lot of people fish with just them and a buddy, or maybe them and their wife or son or whatever. So this makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to go through all the steps of how to set one up. So that you can take a look at it, see if it's something that you want to set up. And for the sake of time, I already have the Magnum slide diver ready to go, but I'm going to show you what the components of that were. So I've got the clear slide diver size 1. This is basically what I call the standard slide diver. Okay, comes with the standard weight and back there. And I've already added to that, changed out the ultimate kit, which is now known as the Mag kit, onto the diver. So that turns that standard slide diver size 1 into a Magnum, which is what I have here. Okay, so I've already put that together, so we're ready to rock and roll. All right, so now we've got our wire rod spooled, ready to go with 7-strand wire. And here's how we hook this up. So the first decision you need to make is this. I suggest running a 5 to 6 foot leader after the slide diver of mono line. So keep that in mind. You got 5 to 6 foot there behind the boat. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add a section of braid to the end of your wire. So there's going to be a knot here that I'm going to show you in a minute where you're going to add a section of braid to the end of the wire, and the braid is what you're going to clamp the diver down to. You don't want to clamp the diver down to the 7-strand wire because you will damage it. You want to clamp the diver down to the 50-pound braid. So you want to decide how much 50-pound braid you want on the end of the line. For me personally, I'm going to do 18 feet because I generally run an 18-foot lead behind my standard divers, and now I'll have the ability to run up to 23 feet. As I said earlier, I'm going to run a 5 or 6 foot mono leader behind it. So I'm going to do an 18 foot, and that's what I'm going to show you. But if you want, you could do like a 30-foot section of braid. Then you could have 35 feet behind the diver if you want. Or you could do a 10-foot section of braid, and then you'd have a 15 or 16-foot lead behind the diver. So I'm going to start with 18 feet, and when I measure my divers always, I just do it sort of the old-fashioned way. I'm about 6 foot tall, so I do 3 wingspans. So it's not, you know, mathematical here. It's not crazy. I'm not measuring it, but I do it the same all the time. So unwinding this off of here, off the spool here. There's 2. And there's 3. So I got my approximate 18 foot of braid ready to go here. And the knot we're going to use to join the wire and the braid is called the Albright knot. And how we're going to do the Albright knot with this is just like you would do with copper. We're going to bend the wire and create a loop like that. It's got a tag here. Okay, so we're going to bend that, create a loop. We're going to put the braid through it. Then I kind of like to pinch that loop and take that braid, create a good tag end, and wrap it around, I'd say half a dozen to 10 times, probably closer to 10, I would say. I don't know, it's a feel thing for me. Okay, so got it wrapped around half a dozen or 10 times there. You can hopefully see somewhat on the video there. And then you go back through with the tag end the same way. And again, if you want, take a look on the internet for examples on how to tie an Albright knot. And then I'm going to pull that tight, cinching that up, pull the 2 main lines tight, and that is as hard as I can pull. That sucker is ready to go and it's not going anywhere. So at that point, you're going to trim the tag ends tight. Now normally what I like to do, and I didn't grab one, is I normally like to cut this braid, so I'll probably leave it so I can do it later to about there and burn that with a lighter. But I didn't bring a lighter, so I'm going to just cut it down a little bit shorter for right now. But I like to burn the braid end usually with a lighter to create a little ball at the end so it can't slip. Okay? But that's the knot you're going to end with at the end there. Okay? So now, as I said before, we've got 18 feet of braided line here that I'm working with the slide diver. So, in all the slide divers comes this accessory kit with some tubing, a bead, and a barrel swivel. So now we're going to actually rig the slide diver onto the braided line. And to do that, we take one of these tubing pieces right there, and we're going to set that. It goes in between there like that. Okay? But I don't put it on the line until I feed it through. So first, we're going to feed it through this top part of the arm there, through the hole. And then we're going to feed it through this next hole right here, where it's sliding through and it's coming out that other end. And then before it gets to the jaw, I use you can use something small like a screwdriver or whatever just to get a hold of that line, because it can be tricky with your finger. It's too big to get it out of there. Got it? So I just use a screwdriver like that to pull it out. I got it. And then I take that tubing and I put it on the line in that part. Now I can continue through to let it go through the diver. And out the other end. Braid sticking to my fingers here. Okay. So there it is. So now I've got the slide diver onto the braided line, just like I showed you. Now all you're going to do is put the bead on, the line, and then you're going to tie the end of the braid to this barrel swivel. And I just use a fisherman's knot. You can use whatever knot you like on this the best. Okay, got that on there. Why the bead? The bead is there so that when the diver slides down to the barrel swivel doesn't bang into the bottom of the eyelet on the diver, and the bead kind of protects that from banging up your knot. So it helps kind of lengthen the longevity of it. So we've got the diver almost all the way set now. All we're dealing with now is the leader after the barrel swivel. So I'm going to grab a section of mono here. It's August, so we're fishing a lot of flashers, meat rigs, stuff like that right now. So I'm going to use 30 pound. You can use 20, 25, or 30. And as I said, I like about a 6-foot leader. So I'm going to go back to my wingspan thing here. And we're going to just do a wingspan of leader like that. Cut that off. And now I'm going to tie that to the bottom of my barrel swivel, as I showed before. So I'm going to cut that to the bottom of this barrel swivel. I'm going to use a fisherman's knot again. And then in the back of my pocket, I got my flasher swivel I saved. So now I'm going to tie the mono to my flasher swivel. Again, I'm just going to use a fisherman's knot there. And there we go. So, going to have your lure attached to the swivel here. Going to have a 6-foot lead to the barrel swivel on the slide diver, then your bead, and then your slide diver. And at this point, I'm gonna be able to set out a lead. So if I was on the boat, I could pitch this in the water with a flasher fly or a spoon or whatever I'd like on it, and I can set out a lead behind the slide diver like this. Okay, say I want to let it out, like I mentioned before, almost to the end of my braid. There is the knot of the braid to the wire, so I got it almost to the end, and then I'm going to clamp it down like that to the braid. So at that point, I've got almost an 18-foot lead of braid out and an extra 6 feet of mono line. So at this point, I've got about a 24-foot total lead behind my slide diver. And when I get a bite, the arm will open up, the slide diver will slide down to the bead, bang, stop right there, and now I'm just dealing with a 6-foot lead from me to the fish. So that's how you set up a Magnum wire slide diver, and I know that a lot of people will really enjoy this, and it'll be a difference maker for you if you've had trouble dealing with the long leads on divers and trying to land fish that way, which I have a lot of customers that have. If you aren't familiar with the slide diver product and you want to check it out, or you're looking to get some, visit your local retailers. Lots of retailers have slide divers. Otherwise, you can go online and check out www.slidediver.com for more more information and availability of product. This is Russell from Russell's Fishing Tech. Good luck and good fishing.